Albert, a young farmer, deeply respected traditional farming practices and believed in living in harmony with nature. One fine morning, he stood in the middle of his lush paddy field and muttered proudly, "Wow! These rice crops will soon begin to bloom and will be ready for harvest in a few days. I've made my grandfather's dream come true." But Albert had a question in mind. He hadn't used any chemical fertilizers or pesticides. Yet his crops were growing healthy and bountiful. How is this possible? Just soil, water, and sunlight. Are they enough? He pondered. Breaking his train of thought, his grandfather Peter walked into the field. Grandfather Peter was an experienced farmer who knew every grain of soil. "How are your crops doing, Albert?" he asked. "They're doing well, grandfather. But I have a doubt. How are they growing so well without any chemicals? There must be some secret hidden in the soil," Albert replied curiously. Grandfather Peter smiled. "Yes, you're right. There is an entire world inside the soil. Not just inside, it's outside too. There are countless organisms helping these crops grow. They are the secret behind this fertility." "Really? Who are they, grandfather? How do they help?" Albert asked eagerly. "Come, I'll explain one by one," said Grandfather Peter, walking towards the shade of a palm tree at the edge of the field. "Let's start with the creatures that live inside the soil. Do you know who the real engineers of the soil are?" Grandfather asked. "Earthworms," guessed Albert. "Exactly. Earthworms till the soil and increase aeration. They create tunnels in the soil, allowing water to penetrate easily. This helps the roots grow deeper and absorb nutrients. In just 1 acre of land, earthworms can produce about 10 to 20 tons of nutrient-rich castings each year. These tunnels can increase the soil's water retention capacity by 20% to 100%, which is very important for paddy fields. They break down organic matter and release essential nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Their castings contain 5 times more nitrogen, 7 times more phosphorus, 11 times more potassium, and twice the calcium compared to regular soil. That's one major reason your crops are thriving without chemical fertilizers. And not just them, Albert. There are countless invisible microorganisms in the soil: bacteria, fungi, and blue-green algae. A single teaspoon of healthy soil can contain more microorganisms than the human population of the entire world, said Grandfather. "How do they help?" asked Albert. "These microorganisms decompose dead plants and animals into nutrients. In paddy fields, blue-green algae and aquatic plants like azala harbor bacteria that fix atmospheric nitrogen into forms like ammonium and nitrate, which plants can absorb. This can add 20 to 50 kilograms of nitrogen per acre per year, significantly reducing the need for synthetic nitrogen fertilizers. Some bacteria and fungi convert insoluble phosphorus into forms that plants can absorb. This is essential for rice growth. Mycorrhizal fungi associate with plant roots and can increase the root surface area by 10 to 1,000 times. This helps the crops absorb water and nutrients like phosphorus, zinc, and copper much more efficiently, providing 20% to 50% more nutrition to the plants. Without these microbes, nutrient cycling would stop and plants wouldn't grow properly, explained Grandfather. Then Grandfather pointed to the field. "Now, let's look outside the soil. We usually think of insects as harmful, but many are actually beneficial," he said. "Beneficial insects?" Albert asked. "Yes. In natural farming, these beneficial insects help control the population of harmful pests. Spiders. They prey on 10 to 20 harmful insects a day like leafhoppers and plant hoppers in rice fields. Wasps. These parasitic wasps lay eggs inside the larvae or eggs of pests like stem borers and leaf rollers. Ladybugs. They feed heavily on aphids. Ground beetles. They hunt caterpillars and larvae that damage crops. Studies show that when natural pest control is allowed, the use of chemical pesticides can be reduced by up to 50%, saving costs and reducing harm. Pollinators. Though rice is mainly wind-pollinated, some insects help with pollination on a small scale. Grandfather then pointed to some birds flying across the field. "Birds help too, indirectly," he said. "Birds? How?" Albert asked. "Sparrows, mynas, and other small birds feed on insects like grasshoppers and caterpillars that harm crops. A flock of birds can eat hundreds of insects daily. Owls, hawks, and herons hunt rats and rodents, which can cause major damage in rice fields. One owl can eat around 1,000 rats per year, greatly reducing crop loss. Egrets feed on worms and insects exposed during plowing. This creates a protective circle around the field, said Grandfather. Since paddy fields are flooded, aquatic creatures also play a vital role, he added. Fish and frogs in the fields feed on insect larvae and some weeds. For example, small fish eat mosquito larvae, reducing the spread of diseases like dengue. Studies show pest damage is significantly reduced in rice fields that include fish farming. Aquatic insects feed on weed seeds and help control weed growth. Their waste adds organic matter and nutrients back into the soil. These creatures maintain the ecological balance of the rice field, explained Grandfather. Even larger animals contribute indirectly, he said. Animals? Albert asked. Cattle, like cows grazing near the fields, provide manure rich in organic matter and essential nutrients. One cow can produce 15 to 20 kilograms of dung daily. This acts as a natural fertilizer and improves soil health. Sometimes wild boars dig the soil, improving aeration. Larger animals maintain balance by preying on smaller animals. This supports biodiversity around the rice field. See, Albert? Every living being in this world helps another in some way. When we use chemicals, we break this natural chain. Earthworms die, beneficial insects are wiped out, microbial activity slows down. Pesticides kill not just pests, but earthworms, good insects, and soil microbes too. This reduces soil fertility and makes crops dependent on chemicals. For example, just one application of a chemical pesticide can reduce beneficial insects by 90%. Prolonged use of chemical fertilizers depletes organic matter, hardens the soil, reduces water-holding capacity, and increases erosion. Globally, 30% to 40% of cultivated land is now degraded. By destroying natural services like pest control and pollination, we're forced to rely more on chemicals. This leads to a harmful cycle. As a result, soil becomes less fertile and farmers become more dependent on synthetic inputs, said Grandfather seriously. Now I understand, Grandfather. We've forgotten that we are just a part of nature. My rice crops are thriving not because of chemicals, but because I didn't use any, so all these creatures were free to do their work. That's why my crops are so healthy, Albert said with emotion. Well said. Farming isn't just about planting and harvesting. It's about understanding and protecting a whole ecosystem. All these living beings are interdependent. If we respect them and protect their homes, they'll give us healthy food in return, said Grandfather Peter. Albert looked at his rice field once more. This time, it looked even more beautiful to him. Not just as crops, but as the result of millions of lives working together. Worm tunnels, buzzing insects, flapping wings, all part of a magnificent chain. Grandfather, I've discovered a great secret today. From now on, I'll farm as a friend to all these living beings. I will protect this soil, this earth. I'll pass down healthy food and a healthy planet to the next generation, Albert declared with determination. Grandfather Peter smiled and patted him on the shoulder. That's the true spirit of a farmer, Albert. Living in harmony with nature, that's the real wealth. This is sustainable farming.